All right, my angels, y'all been waiting for this one. Who the hell did I marry? I married a man after a month. Part 11, the first cheating scandal. I went through the archives, y'all, so that I could find receipts and pictures, and get ready because this is a good one. Now it is May of that next year, and Takis and I are kind of in the groove of things, and we are having our disagreements, obviously, because we have a lot of ups and downs. We're both very strong personalities, but for the most part, the highs are high and the lows are lows, which, you know what, that is a sign of the times, as I must say, because when things are really, really good, but when they're bad and they're really, really bad, so many times you forget that the bad times are really bad and you just look at the good times. And so that was kind of our go-to, what was happening. Takis was working on the truck. He had 2 trucks now, and they were working on building a actual restaurant, brick and mortar. And I was modeling, and we were living in our cute little apartment in Hollywood with our 2 dogs. May of that year comes around. Takis is like, hey, I'm gonna go on a trip to Vegas with the guys. We're gonna go to take the truck to EDM or EDC or something. One of those rave fests. He was like, we're gonna be driving the truck down there. It's a work trip, and then we're also gonna hang out and stuff. I'm like, great. He goes on his trip, and at the same time that he's on his trip, I was going to Dallas to see my family. While I was in Dallas, him and I were always communicating, obviously, but you know, your instincts as a woman and your female intuition is so strong because you know when something is going on, and usually Takis and I were very, very communicative, so we were always texting and messaging, and one night I was in Dallas, and I was going out with my friends that night, and the time difference from Vegas is, Texas is a little bit ahead. And so I was texting with him, and for me, my time, it was like maybe like 2 a.m. Him, it was like a couple hours before. And I was just texting him, like asking him what he was up to, and he wasn't texting me back. And I knew that he had gotten done with his shift on the truck probably around 9 p.m. and then they were probably gonna go out. But for some reason, I just had this really bad feeling because he was always texting me at night whenever he got back, but this time he wasn't texting me. I'm like, red flag alert. What's going on? His whole trip was like that. While I was in Texas, I was a little bit distracted, but he was on his trip, and I kind of just ignored it and decided that I didn't really have any legs to stand on as far as what I wanted to accuse him of because I didn't have any proof. I just felt like I had a bad feeling because there was also just a lot of instances before that, like I said, where he had sent me that picture of his pee-pee while I was in bed and sent it to me, and it was like, why are you sending me that like when you're in the next room? And then he was always very secretive about his phone. He got one of those privacy screen, and he was like, oh, it's because I don't want people at work, my employees, to see who I'm texting. I'm like, okay. But he comes back from his trip, and immediately when he comes back from his trip, he walks in the door. I was like, oh my God, hi. And me and the dogs go up and greet him, and he's just like, hey. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm just tired. I'm like, okay, well, I haven't seen you in like 4 days. Hi, like I missed you. And usually he'd be very excited to see me, but he was just very down energy. And I'm like, okay, like what's going on? He goes in the room, and immediately he's like, I want to lay down. I'm going to change. Like I'm really, really exhausted. I'm probably going to just lay down for a bit, maybe take a nap. Now he never took naps. The man did not believe in naps. So I was like, you're going to take a nap? Like that's weird. I'm like, by the way, where were you last night? Like, I was trying to text you to get a good night before I was going home, and you didn't text me. He's like, oh, we actually ended up meeting some guys while we were out that work for Omni Hotel, and we went out with them. I'm like, oh, okay. I go, and I'm like fixing lunch or something. He's in the bedroom. I think he's going to be napping. And when you wanted to walk to our bathroom, you had to walk past the bedroom. So I walked past, and he's just like laying in bed texting. And y'all, you know the look on someone's face when they're texting someone that they have a crush on or that they like they have this look on their face. You don't have that look on your face when you're a man when you're texting your guy friends. And he's like kind of got this grin on his face, and he's texting. I'm like, who the hell got you smiling like that? Who are you texting like that? And he's like, oh, Dino, he said something funny. I'm like, what did he say? And he's like, nothing. He just said something funny. I'm like, okay, so you're not going to specifically tell me. Okay, sir, you're shady, but whatever. I go to the bathroom, and then that whole month, you guys, it was a series of just like him being very distant, him being at work, him coming home, him being on his phone, and basically essentially ignoring me. We weren't having sex. Like, it was just a very downward spiral into our relationship. And I could just tell he was just emotionally unavailable and very clocked out into what was going on with me. So I was like, what is going on with this man? We were fighting all the time. Like every single day I'd be like, what's wrong? And he'd be like, nothing. I'm like, literally, you have not kissed me in like 72 hours. You usually tell me you love me. You are being very, very distant, and this is weird. And he's like, I'm serious, like nothing is wrong. And he was spending very, very long hours at work at the office. They had an office for the truck. So he was there for long hours. He was on the truck all the time. And then at the end of May, he tells me, hey, the boys and I are going to take another trip to Vegas, but just like for fun. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, we want to celebrate that the truck's been doing really well, so we're going to take a little guys trip. I'm like, you literally just went to Vegas, but I mean, I guess that was for work, so That makes sense, right? During this month that he had been ignoring me, I was working on the truck sometimes just to help out whenever there wasn't anyone to help. And this was during the time that I met Keanu Reeves on the truck. And so there was one day where I was working on the truck to help him out, and Takis was not working on the truck anymore. He was just basically like managing it and everything. But sometimes I go to work on the truck and help him out. And then he had this one friend named Petros, who was another Greek guy they had hired, that he was also working on the truck sometimes, and him and I would see each other. And he was always incredibly flirty with me and just like very Greek and just like, oh, agapi mo, you look so beautiful, la la la. But he was totally harmless, right? But because Takis was ignoring me, I basically would be talking to Petros all the time and hanging out with him. And Takis like didn't care. He was like unfazed by it and just wasn't worried about it. He was like, Petros works for me and he knows like not to overstep the boundary. And I was like, well, I'm hanging out with him because I'm fucking lonely and you're ignoring me. And he was like, whatever, I don't care, right? 2 days before Takis is supposed to leave for Vegas, I suddenly have this horrible feeling. Like, we had been fighting all the time and our relationship wasn't going well. He was gaslighting me all the time, saying I was crazy. And I just had this horrible feeling that something bad was going to happen on the Vegas trip. And so one night he comes home from the truck. I had cooked his dinner. We're sitting down. We're eating literally fettuccine Alfredo. Like, I had made this man a nice-ass meal. I pour us some wine. I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And he goes, here we go again. All you want to do is talk. I'm like, yeah, because you don't want to talk, so I have to talk for both of us. He's like, what's your problem now? I'm like, aside from the fact that the whole month you basically acted like I'm a stranger and I'm your actual fucking wife and the reason that you're in this country, like, not trying to hold that against you, but, you know, this is the truth. I have a really bad feeling about Vegas. I really don't want you to go. And he was like, you're kidding me, right? I'm like, no, I just have a bad feeling and I don't want you to go. Like, I would rather maybe you and I do something nice, like go on a date or take a trip together because I haven't seen you all month. And he's like, I told the guys that I would take them to Vegas because they've been working really hard and they deserve it. And I'm like, great. And I understand that, but I don't feel comfortable with this right now. And he's like, you don't have a reason. I'm like, the reason is we've been fighting and I don't trust you right now. And he's like, I've never given you any reason not to trust me. I'm like, sure, sir, like ABCD, exhibit ABC, you know? And he's like, okay, well, I already proved that you were wrong on all those things and it's just you're being insecure. Girls, there is nothing more insidious than a man that tells a woman who is a confident and strong woman that she is insecure when she is not. That man has caused her to act that way. He is the reason that she suspects him. Never let a man make you feel like your suspicious thoughts are insecurity because he is a shady motherfucker. We get into a huge fight. I'm crying. I'm like, please, I really, really just have a bad feeling. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of your safety. I don't know if it's because of a situation that's going to happen, but I really don't want you to go. Like, if you really, really care about me and my feelings, please don't go. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, I have been working really hard and I deserve this trip. And I don't care what you say, I'm going. I was like, okay, cool. So the next day, he goes and spends the night at his friends and he texts me from his friends and he's like, I packed my stuff this morning while you were sleeping. I'm going to go straight with my friend to Vegas. I will see you when I'm back. I'm like, oh, okay, so you, one, didn't want to resolve things with me. You're making me spend the night by myself, and you're just leaving and going to Vegas when I asked you not to. You're not even, like, making me feel better. You're not trying to validate my feelings. You're not trying to do anything to try to meet me in the middle. You're just going to fuck off to Vegas and leave me there. Cool. I am feeling incredibly alone. I am so sad. He goes off. I'm trying to get one of my girlfriends to come and spend a couple days with me while I'm alone at the house with the dogs because I'm feeling so absolutely just devastated by the fact that this man did not care about my feelings at all. I can't believe that's my life. Like, I'm trying to get one of my girlfriends to come over, but everyone's busy. And then Petros ends up texting me. This is on like a Friday night. And he's like, hey, Gapimu, like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm just, like, hanging out at home. I'm, like, really sad and lonely, and I don't know what he's up to. And Petros is like, okay, well, I can come over and keep you company. Like, we can watch a movie or something. I'm like, okay, yeah, great. So he comes over. Again, we are totally innocent friends. I did not think that anything other than his, like, flirting was him being Greek. I didn't think that there was anything above that. He knew that I was literally married to his boss. He comes over, we're eating popcorn, we're, like, watching a movie, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I have this horrible feeling. And I'm like, can I get your opinion on something? I know that this is going to put you in a really weird position because he's your boss, but, like, I just want to get your opinion as a Greek man. And he's like, of course. So I tell him the situation, and I'm like, that's weird, right? And he's like, look, I don't want to say anything because he's my boss, but being that he is your husband and you are his wife, he should take more account into your feelings. It does kind of sound like something is going on. I don't know what is going on, but it does sound like something's going on. I'm like, that's what I thought. And he's like, I know that if you were my wife, I would never, leave you to go to another place and leave you feeling like this. And I was like, damn, right. He goes home and I'm texting Takis like, hey, how's your trip? Did not make me feel good that you just left without a goodbye. That made me feel extremely alone and abandoned. Can you just text me when you're going to bed and stuff? No reply. I'm texting this man. It is like midnight, 1 a.m. in Vegas, and he is not messaging me back at all. Y'all, I am not the one to check your phone, follow up on you, to be investigatory, because if I want to trust you, I'm going to trust you. And if I don't trust you, I'm just going to not be with you, right? But at this point, this man had just mind-fucked me so bad that I'm over here like, okay, well, he's not going to talk to me. He has emotionally invalidated me. He has left me high and dry emotionally. I need to find out what's happening. So we had each other's passwords. And this is crazy how men think, you guys, because men will give you all their passwords, let you have access to everything, and just be surprised that you found out they were cheating. Like, they're like, oh, wow, I wasn't cheating. Or like, wow, how did you find out? Like, you left everything open. I don't know if it's laziness or it's the fact that they just think, like, we're too stupid to realize. But I ended up going onto our T-Mobile account. I go onto our call history, and I'm, like, looking up who he's been calling, who he's been texting and stuff like that, because I'm like, he's not answering my phone call, right? If he's calling other people or texting people and he's not answering my phone call or my texts, I'm not happy. So I look and I see this one number that has been appearing all the time for the past month since he was in Vegas last, and it's a Pennsylvania number. And I'm like, who in God's name does he know from Pennsylvania? Because every single other number on there, guys, I was like spreadsheet style, like checking each number against my phone. And I'm like, okay, that's our friend, that's his mom. You know, I'm checking. And there's this one number, this 215 number that I'm like, who in God's name is that? They are multiple times a day texting, multiple times a day being on the phone while he's at work. And while he is texting at home, and I'm seeing the timestamps that he is doing that while he's telling me that he's at home working or being in the bedroom napping or whatever. I'm like, okay, I need to find out who this is. I Google the phone number. I'm like trying to figure out who it is, and a woman's name comes up, Lucy. Don't know who the hell Lucy is. And I look on Facebook, and she is a girl that looks, no joke, like me, but less cute, okay? Not to hate, but I'm like, what? And y'all, she is on her Facebook happily engaged to a man. So I'm like, who the hell is this woman from Pennsylvania that is talking to my man that looks like a human version of me and is also engaged to somebody else? And I see online, because she has her own practice, that she is a psychologist and a therapist. I'm like, he doesn't have a therapist, and I know he's not talking to some therapist in Pennsylvania. Like, what's going on? And mind you, the whole time he's being very short with texts with me. He is barely communicating with me. I am alone at the house with the dogs, with my thoughts and my insanity. I had this bad feeling and inkling that he was in Vegas with this person. I need to call this number. I need to figure out who she is. But if she's in Vegas with Takis, I don't want to call and then her be like with him, right? So I'm like, I'm going to wait till the last day when I know Takis is on his way from Vegas, and then I'm going to call that number and find out about her little rendezvous with my mans. He's coming back the next day, and it was the night before, and I decide, like, I'm going to call this girl. So I block my number and I call her. It's maybe like 12, 1 a.m. And this girl answers. She's like, hello? And I'm like, hey, Lucy. And she's like, yeah? I'm like, oh my God, hey girl, it's me from the bathroom, you know, Brittany? And she's like, what? I'm like, we met in the bathroom, remember? She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, hey, are you hanging out with the Greeks tonight? By the way, it was really nice to meet you in the bathroom. You were so sweet. And it was really cute that you were hanging out with those Greek boys. Like, they were so cute. Like, are you dating one of them? And then she's like, who are you? And I was like, girl, it's Brittany. We met in the bathroom. And she's like, oh, sorry, I don't remember you. And I was like, right, but you were the one that was with the Greeks, right? And she just goes, yeah. And I was like, yeah, you and Takis were really cute together. Anyways, it was really good to talk to you. And I just wanted to say again, it was really nice meeting you. And I hope you keep in touch. And she goes, okay, thanks. Bye. And I hung up. Y'all, that conversation, my heart was palpitating the whole time. But it was the confirmation that I needed that she was some random woman hanging out with my mans. And I was distraught. So I'm like, okay, I need to find out more information now. It's time to do hella investigatory work. Because I have the password to everything, I'm like, I'm going to log into his iCloud on the computer so that I can read his text messages to see what's going on. But I wasn't sure if it does like a verification and it asks you, because it does that sometimes. And so I have a friend that works for Mac. Oh, it was Luca, the other Greek. And so I called him up. I'm like, hey, Luca. And he's like, oh, hey, Kapimu. I'm like, hey, so I am having an issue with my iCloud and I'm trying to figure out what's going on because I'm not getting the messages on my computer. Do I need to do a verification or something? Like if I log in on my computer on there, is it going to send a verification to my phone? And he was like, it will do that only if you have set up two-step verification. I'm like, oh, so it's not an automatic thing. He's like, no, you had to specifically set it up. I'm like, okay. So at this point, this is a little risky business, y'all, but I decided that I needed to find out. And look, if the man was cheating or he had nothing to hide, then I did all this work for nothing, but clearly something was going on, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to risk going in and him getting an alert maybe, but I don't think he would have set up a two-step verification, so I'm just gonna go in anyways. I log into the account. It pulls up all the text messages, you know, like all the ones of him with me and his friends and stuff, and then I see Luke, L-U-C, saved. I'm like, gotcha, bitch. Y'all, I open up the texts, and here they are. So as we can see here, Luke, the name at the very top left, and he says to her, "Good morning, gorgeous baby princess, I miss you." This is how diabolical men are, you guys. Gorgeous baby princess was his nickname for me. He was using his love language, little baby nicknames that he used on me, the woman he married, with this fucking girl that he met a month ago. And she writes, "A little souvenir for you." And then she sent a picture of her and her friends, and she's wearing white. And I'm like thinking, wait, she's the only one wearing white. Is this her fucking bachelorette trip? From what I gathered, she went back home a day before Takis did. So then she sends him another picture of her, and he's like, ha ha ha, I already miss that face so much. It's crazy. And she says, Alex and I were talking about how we were so angry for no good reason on Friday. Ha ha ha, so much fun. And then Takis says, yeah, she was saying that to me too, so how is it now that you're back in the real world? And then she says, laying around today, not liking the real world. And he says, I feel you. I don't want to go back. Can I come and lay with you? And then she says, don't go back, come lay here. And he says, I would love that. I would hug you and stay in bed all day. Gross. Y'all, I do not wish this feeling on anyone. The feeling of seeing the man that you love, the man that you married, texting another woman using his pet names that he uses for you with her. I wanted to actually jump into the ocean and never return. I was just heartbroken. I was hysterical. I'm crying. I know that he is on his drive home. And I'm like, I am not equipped to handle this. So I'm texting my brother and I'm texting one of my best friends. And I'm like, what do I do? My brother's like, oh my God, you need to document everything. I'm going to get an attorney, a divorce attorney to talk to you. Like, let's figure this out. Because my brother is definitely in very like, go, 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 let's cover our bases mode. I'm texting my friend. And it is hilarious because she's like in the like, let's ruin his life mode. So these were my text messages with her. She's like, should we slowly wreck his life without him knowing? I was like, I love you. And she's like, ooh, like John Tucker Must Die. And I'm like, worse. I was thinking of cutting his boop off. I was like, also he's texting that he loves me while texting this bitch that he wants to kiss her. And she loves the way he looks at her. Reading that, you guys, from her where she was telling Takis, I love the way that you look at me. It honestly shattered me because I knew exactly the look that she was talking about because it was a look that he gave me all the time that I used to call his love eyes, where he would just look at me longingly and like I was the most beautiful girl in the world. And the fact that this man was giving all of his emotional attention, all the love that I was seeking from him that month in our relationship to her and that I had been seeking for a while, I was like, well, this makes sense. You can't give that to me because you're emotionally cheating with somebody else. And then I saw through other messages that I couldn't find that they did end up kissing. And at one point, she had said that she loved it when he grabbed her hand and pulled her through the crowd. And I was just like, y'all, I wanted to actually die. I'm losing my shit. I call my therapist. I'm like, I need to book an emergency session today. And she's like, okay, I have room. So I go to my therapist's office. I'm relinquishing all the information to her. And she's like, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, he doesn't know that I know. And he's on his way back now, and we've been texting, and he is completely being absolutely emotionally unavailable. He's acting like nothing happened, and he's acting like I'm annoying him by bothering him. And I wish I had the text that I had with him, but when him and I had broken up, I had deleted his number and all his messages from the face of the earth because I wanted that man to burn in a place hotter than hell. So I could not find those text messages. But I was in my therapist's office. I'm like, you know what I want to do? He is on the car ride home now, texting this girl. He doesn't know that I know, and I want to confront him on the phone with you here. And she was like, all right, bet, let's go. I'm like, my therapist is a down-ass bitch, y'all. So I call him on speaker, and he's like, hey. I'm like, hey, how far are you from being back? And he's like, oh, I'm like 2 hours away. I'm like, oh, okay, what's your plan when you get back? And he's like, oh, I'm going to go straight to the store, actually, and then I'll be home later. I was like, Takis, I haven't seen you in 4 days. Why don't you come home first so we can spend some time together, and then you can go to the truck? And he's like, no, I need to go to the store and the truck first because I haven't been there, and I need to check up on it. I'm like, well, I'm your wife, and I have needs, and you haven't been around me in 4 days, so can you please come home? And he's like, I'm not going to come home. And he was just being so combative and just did not want to meet any of my needs, did not want to be there for me at all. I just snapped and I just said, Takis, I fucking know about Lucy. Silence. Silence. I could hear his friends breathing in the background of the car. Silence. And in typical Takis fashion, deflection, he goes, so what do you want me to say? I said, I know that you're cheating on me. He goes, I'm not cheating on you. I said, oh, really? You didn't kiss her? Because I saw on your text messages. And he goes, you logged into my text messages? You've been reading my text? I was like, do not deflect. You have been cheating. I found out. I wouldn't have checked your messages if you hadn't been avoiding me and if I hadn't had a feeling that there was some shystiness going on. And he was like, I can't believe that you logged into my Apple and were reading my messages. Why is this like the go-to for everyone? Like, oh my God, it's this intrusion of your privacy. You know what's an intrusion of my privacy? You putting your intrusion in another woman's privacy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, sir, you are not going to turn this around on me. I know what you did. I know that Lucy exists. I know you've been talking to her for a month, and I know that you've been emotionally cheating on me, and also you cheating, you kissed her. And he goes, you know what? I don't want to do this right now with you. I was like, you know what? Too freaking bad because we're doing this right now. He's like, no, I don't want to deal with you right now. I was like, do you love her? And he started laughing. He was like, be real. I'm like, oh my God. I was on fire, you guys. And then the dude hangs up on me. So then I'm hysterically crying in my therapist's office, obviously. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, my whole life is over. I have to get a divorce. I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I cannot believe that this is my life. Like, I am traumatized. And she was like, okay, what do you want to do? What's the first step? And I was like, I need to make sure that I take care of myself. So I need to go home. I need to make sure that I have my ducks in a row in case I need to make an exit plan. She's like, great, you do that. And then what happens when he comes home? I'm like, I'm going to confront him. And she was like, and what do you want out of the confrontation? I was like, well, first of all, I want him to admit what he did. And I want to know why. You know, I want to know what his thinking was. Like, what happened? How did we get here? We were so in love. You know, we've had our problems, obviously, but I thought we really loved each other. And she's like, okay, great. So I'm on my way home, hysterically crying, talking to my mom, my brother, and all my friends. Ugly crying, y'all, on my drive home. I get home, and he texts me, and he says, I'm going to go to the store first and the truck, and then I will be home later to talk. I'm like, oh, he really does not care about me. He is really going to play the avoid game and to avoid me like the plague. Next part, part 12, the confrontation with Takis.